Well, my goodness, you certainly look like the cat who swallowed the canary this morning.
A canary? No, actually I was thinking of something bigger, something that flies, something more in blue.
Lois, as usual, I'm totally in the dark.
Well, let me just turn on the lights for you then. Get the picture? You know, I didn't start to put this together until this morning, which is really strange because a good reporter isn't supposed to let anything slip by her.
Well, that's, very amusing. Excuse me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's very amusing.
That is Lois Lane, better known as Margot Kidder, from Superman 2, where Lois is trying to reveal the identity of Superman to Clark Kent. This is the DisneyVerse Podcast. My name is Michael, alongside Trish and Vicky. I realize this is not a Disney clip. It is not a Disney movie. But we do want to start our show with acknowledging that Margot Kidder, who played the iconic role of Lois Lane in the movies of Superman 3, 4, was it 4 or 5 or something like that? She passed away earlier today on Monday at the age of 69. Cause of death has not yet been revealed, but funeral arrangements are expected to be made. I was, besides being a super huge Disney fan, I was also a big Superman fan. And obviously Clark Kent, Christopher Reeve passing away years ago, and now Lois Lane. It's kind of a sad day out there.
Yeah, it was. It was some of my favorite movies from when I was a kid. I used to love watching Superman. Absolutely.
Anyway, again, my name is Michael. Thank you very much for joining us here on the DisneyVerse Podcast. This is Avengers all the time. That's why we're collecting here today. As a note before we do start the show, this is going to be a spoiler edition. So if you have not listened to the show or have not actually seen the show or watched the movie, definitely make sure that you either tune off when we start talking about it, or if you just don't care, you just want to hear us talk about it and then still go see it, that's cool too. So Trish and Vicky along here for the ride. And again, thank you very much for joining us here today. We do have some Disney news we do want to talk about here in just a couple of moments. First, though, a couple quick little notes about social media. We are, of course, online as always, 24/7, 365. Our Twitter account is up and running. Vicky's got that locked and loaded. Twitter at DisneyVersePod. If you want to email the show, if you want to contact us, if you would like to ask us any questions or what have you, go ahead and hit us up there at DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com. And our Facebook page, facebook.com/Disneyverse. As you probably have seen on your Facebook feeds, we are doing a pretty big Facebook contest. We are doing a contest where you do have the opportunity to win your own copy of Black Panther, that is courtesy of Disney and Marvel Films, as well as Black Panther Mickey ears. These are courtesy of Terry, who is unfortunately not able to join us here this week. That is through the Littlest Bow Shop. You can find her at etsy.com/shop/Littlest Bow Shop. Now, with the contest, we've had a lot of people who've loved the photo. We certainly thank you so much for liking that photo. However, in order to be entered in the contest, you do need to do a couple of things. You need to first like the Disneyverse Podcast Facebook page, and you need to share the contest. Again, we've had a lot of people who have loved that contest, who have loved the photo, but that unfortunately is not going to get you entered in. So again, facebook.com/Disneyverse, and you have to like that page, and then you have to go ahead and share the photo. And again, we will give that DVD, which has the Blu-ray digital code and the regular DVD and the Mickey Mouse Black Panther ears. We're going to give those out on June 1st. So thank you very much for who has done that yet. And if you haven't, you still got some time, so have no fear. We will get you guys covered. Coming up on today's show, we are going to talk about dragons catching fire. I don't know if you guys have been apparently Disney is really chilly down in Orlando this time of year, so we're going to talk about the dragon catching fire down at Disneyland. Plus, if you're into royal weddings, apparently I am, which I didn't realize it was, but you can get your you can get your royal wedding merchandise at Disney. We're going to talk about that as well too, plus some Pirates of the Caribbean news and whatever stuff we've got to say as well. So I want to start with the dragon. Now, Pete's dragon, which did not catch fire, but there was a dragon. Now, the dragon is a attraction that is at Walt Disney World. This is a part of a parade that happens. This is the Festival of Fantasy Parade at Walt Disney World. This dragon usually breathes fire out its mouth, not its neck. And apparently that dragon was confused that day because it did catch fire. A Disney World spokesman confirmed the incident to the Orlando Sentinel. Many park visitors filmed and took photos of the dragon, which we do have on our page. But if you do want to check out videos of it, you can probably check those out on YouTube. It represents the Sleeping Beauty character Maleficent, bobbing his burning head up and down. So apparently the dragon was supposed to blow smoke and fire from its mouth, but apparently it wasn't supposed to, like I said, come out of its neck. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. They're still checking out the fire. And, of course, as we know, Disney has decided to capitalize on this, but now they have s'mores that they have come out with a dragon encrusted in that as well. So, Trish, you know, accidents do happen at theme parks every now and then, don't they?
Oh, every once in a while, yes.
But they're not supposed to come out of. They're not supposed to do like this, though. That's one of those funny things. Top 10 funniest moments that happen in Disneyland or Disney World. This could be maybe one of those top 10.
Yes, there was also another dragon incident a while back in Fantasmic where they were launching the new dragon at the end of it, and yeah, its head fell off at one point. So yeah.
I wonder if they noticed. I wonder if anyone noticed. Oh,
there are 5 million people with cameras going click, 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 click.
Nobody will notice that happening. Oh. It's all part of the attraction. This is the dragon's decoy to get Mickey. Oh boy!
I bet Disney is happy that there were not cell phone cameras back in 1955.
Oh, geez, no kidding.
Not unless you look at some of the government conspiracy pages you see on Facebook. I'm sure they have something like that
Lord.
as well. So again. You never know what you find at the Disney parks. You may find you may find the love of your life. You may find that favorite churro, or you just may find an attraction on fire during one of the parades. So,
it's those weird things that make it really great.
Oh, I know. This is the best $115 I spent on this. Well, and of course, speaking of large sums amount of money, Trish, looks like you had some news on Pixar Pier. What's going on with that?
Yeah, okay, so Pixar Pier is opening on June 23rd, but they are having a very special VIP event the day before on the 22nd, where you get early access to Pixar Pier, you get to ride all the rides, you get to try the different foods, unlimited downloads of the photo pass, of any pictures they've taken there, free parking. Sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah. But Trish, how much is it? Thanks for asking.
Well, it is $299 a person.
And just think, you don't even get in until 3 p.m.
Yes. Oh, so it's not even a full day.
So it's not a full day.
No.
You're in the attraction, what, 5 hours, 6 hours? Because, you know, California Adventure is not like it open until midnight something unless the Disneyland park itself is closed.
Yeah, I don't think it said on there how late you get to stay there, but
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a little much.
Now
I mean, that's insane.
Now
if you look at some of the comments on the Disney site, it's kind of humorous because they're comparing it to like when Cars Land opened and some of the early access for AP holders. Yeah, none of that anymore.
Let's remind people that the roller coaster is a holdover from the original Paradise Pier. It's not a brand new coaster.
Yes.
All they have done is basically put in brand new cars, and they've slapped on the Incredibles with it. Really, there's nothing else that's going to change. The music's still going to be the same. It's still going to be about a 35, 40-second ride, if it may be a little bit longer than that. But really, there's not much more that's included. And on top of that, everyone is going to be purchasing tickets because, I just got to go to it. It's like one of the first people to be a part of it. And that's why you're spending $300, is you want to be one of the first people to experience it. Keep in mind, if you spend that much money and not everyone's going to be able to ride an attraction, that's just the reality of it.
Yes.
And it's not like you're going a week or two before so you can really brag about it.
No.
It opens the very next day.
Right. So... Which then you only pay $125 for one day admission. I mean, that's, what a deal. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's welcome to Disney. That's just how it is. So, there is one attraction though I'm actually looking forward to, and this actually has kind of piqued my interest a little bit. Pirates of the Caribbean is currently going through its refurbishment. It's not renovations, it's refurbishment, as I have air quotes going in here, as you guys can clearly see in your imaginations. Disneyland has announced that they're going to add not just the Fast Pass attractions, but they're also doing Max Pass. Now, Max Pass is a pretty cool thing. Do you guys know what Max Pass is?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, what is Max Pass?
Oh,
Vicky, go ahead.
Explain? Well, it's a little hard to explain because I kind of understand how it works.
It's okay. I can. Explain it. It's you pay an extra $10 a day per person, and then you get to make your Fast Pass reservations on your phone, and instead of having to actually go to the Fast Pass machines. And then also you get unlimited downloads of all the pictures they take, like on the rides, and I think also through any pictures you get taken in the park.
Yeah, in fact, I'm looking.
And you can also connect everyone's tickets, and it seems kind of cool. I have not used it yet.
I heard people love it. They do, because especially the Fast Pass feature, because then you don't actually have to like go to, all the way to Space Mountain to get the Fast Pass.
Right. Well, and I think that's ultimately the way they're going. I know you ladies have said that Max Pass is there's a lot more options for Max Pass at Walt Disney World. Is this one of those things like at Disney World that you have to pay $10 extra per attraction per day, or is it just $10 a flat fee?
At Disneyland, it's just $10 per day, but in Disney World, that's just free how it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Except for the downloads of the pictures, they have the app on your phone that you make your Fast Passes on.
Right, and that's one thing. When we do our next episode, which will be after this one, we're actually going to do Disney planning for your vacations, whether it be at the Disney Parks Resorts or at Walt Disney World. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, especially if it's at Disney World, I'm really going to take advantage of that when I go down there in December. But, it's definitely something that a lot of companies are really utilizing smartphones as the way of it. I mean, clearly you can get a ride from an Uber. You can see where your Uber is. You can see how much it's going to cost. Disneyland, Disney World, people like using their phones to check out wait times. They like to see where they are on the maps and see what's open and closed. So that's really just the way that it's going to go. And I mean, this is one thing that I'm sure Disney eventually will say, listen, we're going to charge $300 for Paradise Pier, Pixar Pier. Let's just go ahead and make this a free option, especially if it's something at Disney World. I would expect something like this will be coming down the line at Disneyland Resort. So that I'm definitely looking forward to it. And, especially seeing the new redhead, I mean, a lot of people love the new redhead.
That will be cool.
Well, and a lot of people love the new redhead so much so that there is going to be a live action redhead. So you don't have to necessarily just experience the redhead on the attraction. You actually can see her live. And Disney has announced that they are going to have a live person portray the redhead. This is Brassy Buccaneer. Arriving soon at Disneyland Park, she's a fierce and independent pirate known as Red. A bit mysterious by nature, Red travels to various ports throughout the Caribbean, selling rum and collecting coin. Now, I'm fine with rum. I mean, I don't know about you ladies, but I'm definitely cool with rum on that. So this is going to be a character.
I love a female pirate. It's cool with me. Right.
Now, this character will be, it looks like according to Disneyland's website, this is going to be a character that will be interactive during the summertime. I think this is going to be something, and I know we've talked about this on previous shows and also on the Facebook page as well. There's a lot of backlash with Red, and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
But this is Disney's way of saying, listen, we're not just going to have her in the attraction. We're going to have you introduce yourself to her and tell her to her face that she sucks, which I'm not going to do that.
I want to take a picture with her. I don't know about anyone else.
Well,
and it is a problem. I am attached to some of the things of Disney from when I was growing up, and it's hard when it changes. But but things have to change. I cannot have everything be the way it was in 1955. Not everything worked in 1955. Right. So I think we need to be a little bit more open-minded, and for the most part, I like most of the times when they tweak things and they update things and they bring them up. Not always, but hey, gotta be a little open-minded when it comes to this stuff.
Exactly. Trish, you're gonna make a comment about something?
I was just saying that, I agree that things are gonna change, and, it's kind of pointless to rail against it. You should just go with it, enjoy it.
Now, exactly, and keep in mind they're not changing the ride. They're not making it it's not like the riverboats. They're not actually making it shorter. They're not looking to do something different. Which, by the way, actually, I think after seeing videos of the riverboats, I think actually the riverboat ferry looks a lot better. I think it looks to be pretty darn cool with some of the stuff they've added to it. But yeah, I mean, it's not. She's kind of important, but again, where was the outcry and the outrage when Johnny Depp was added? Where was the outcry when Barbossa was added to the attraction? I didn't see a lot of that.
Actually, there was.
There
Really?
Was a huge backlash. But enough time has passed now that most people, and when you think about the number of people who have gone to see it since the Johnny Depp changes, that, they thought it was always there.
Well, and it's funny because I'm glad you guys said that, because when I was reading it, when they first announced, Johnny Depp's here, everyone's thinking, he's going to show up, and he's every now and then he'll just show up at the Disneyland attraction. Apparently he has,
he has done that.
Yeah, which I'm hoping in February, Trish, when we're down there, or when we do the D23 event, we might sneak in there and it's Johnny Depp. He's just doing his thing. Just don't have him play the Indian from Lone Ranger. Anyway, so yeah, that's another story for another time. Yeah, but I mean, things change. Things change. They have to make things modern. They have to change the attractions. They have to change the park, because if you have the same old park without doing much to it, it turns into a stale attraction and it turns into a stale environment. It's like, okay, we live here in Nevada. If you guys haven't heard us talk about that before, we live in Nevada. Out here in Nevada, things change all the time. As soon as they upgrade a casino, you know what they do? They start planning their next renovation in that same spot. That's just how it is. So things change. It's just how it is. Get over it. You'll be fine. You're going to enjoy the attraction and have a Monte Cristo afterwards. Anyway, so
Disneyland will never be complete as long as there is imagination left in the world.
That's right.
And that's exactly right.
So for all of you Disney purists, how about take Walt's words to heart and just accept it?
I got 3 words. Suck a churro. Anyway, moving on. So moving on. Now, Vicky, you were talking about something. Now, there's some big wedding that's happening.
Yeah, there's this pesky little royal wedding coming up in the next few days.
Yeah, I'm actually checking the email here. I don't see our invite yet, so we're still checking that. But
we weren't one of the 2,500 common folk who were invited to view.
Now, were we like Carrie Elways in Robin Hood Men in Tights and say, unlike most Robin Hoods, I have an English accent? What does the royal wedding have to do with Disney?
I'm not sure. However, anyone who's been to Epcot Center knows that it's essentially the world in one little spot. And in the UK pavilion, they are selling royal wedding souvenirs. Teacups, saucers, mugs, tea towels, trinket holders, you name it. We've got Harry and Meghan's face all over everything.
Now,
and you can go there and you can buy it at Disneyland.
Disneyland too, or just Disneyland?
I'm sorry, Disney World.
Oh,
Disney
okay.
World.
I was going to say, Trish, let's get in the car.
Anytime, anywhere.
I fly you by. That's right. This is something that I noticed this when Will and Kate got married, because clearly I lost sleep, said nobody, for that wedding. But
I actually did.
Really?
I stayed up to watch it.
And I watched the whole thing. I didn't go to bed till 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
I was right there with you, darling.
I made tea and scones and just sat there and watched it. Well, I thought it was fascinating.
Well, okay, so if you're making tea and scones, and okay, that's fine. I'll allow that. Was there a spot of jam with your scone and tea? Yeah, it's because William and Kate, when they had their wedding, it was like they put on plates, they had them on cups, they had them on everything.
They've done that since Elizabeth and Philip.
Right. Well, and of course,
actually, if you want to be honest, they did that going all the way back to Victoria and Albert.
Well, and everyone remembers when Diane and Charles got married. I mean, that, good God.
I did. I stayed up all night, and my cousin and I watched it.
Yeah, I the only thing that, I mean, because I know there's been a few weddings in my lifetime. I think the only thing I've ever, well, I mean, for the royals, I mean, yeah, they've been married like 7 or 8 times, and that's just Charles. I think, I mean, well, actually, that's not true. There's only been twice. But no, I think the only time I've ever actually stayed up, I think, is when Diana had her funeral. I think that's the only time I actually ever stayed up for that. I mean, that was just sad.
That was actually the day that we arrived in Reno. That's how I can always remember what day it was, because it's flashing all over the news, and it was totally freakish, but it kind of sticks in my mind because it was the day I arrived.
All right, so we now know that when Vicky arrived in Reno, it was a funeral. Okay, that's it's just,
I know, I'm just so lucky that way.
So. Now, will they have Millennial Kate, Millennial Pink with Harry and Meghan here, or is this going to be just kind of like whatever?
No, it's all gold and white. Apparently that's their colors. Everything. Well, actually, when I think back to some of the paraphernalia from previous weddings, they're usually white plates with gold or silver trim, and then you have the faces emblazed all over it, which is a little freakish to me. I don't want to eat off their faces.
No, I think that's kind of morbid, but yeah, you know, I don't think I'm going to be buying anything like that, but it's I mean, hey, there's a market for people who like to buy that, so I mean, God bless them.
Well, I would buy the trinket box. I'll admit it. I'll buy it. Now, if Disney World wants to send me one for free for advertising them, I'll be happy to take it.
And speaking of which, we do take sponsorships. So if you are interested in being a sponsor of the DisneyVerse Podcast, we will mark the shit out of your stuff. So moving on.
Oh, yes.
So one last story I wanted to kind of get into before we talk about our Avengers. And, of course, before we do that, I will do another reminder about the spoilers. But we talk about movies. We talk about Disney. Disney is a cash cow. Sometimes they do. They don't necessarily make money all the time, but we all know that they, for the most part, do. Last week, Disney did their first quarter investor conference call where they were talking about some of their hits, and they did have a miss. So obviously the big hit was Black Panther. It made, I believe, $855 gazillion, and it just made another billion right there. And that was the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, obviously, Avengers Infinity War will make Disney a profit. However, Disney did have, I hate using the word flop. I really hate using the word flop, but investors as well as Disney management has said that this movie was a flop, and that's A Wrinkle in Time. Now, obviously, I have not seen the movie. Ladies, have you seen A Wrinkle in Time?
No, I did not.
Nope.
Did not. Okay, so clearly we caused this movie to not make much money. So
it was my fault. I'm so
It was us. Oh, God.
it was all our fault. Which, by the way, I might actually go see that tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. It's still playing, by the way.
Where is it playing?
It is playing at the Galaxy Theaters in Sparks, Nevada.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's still playing. I think it's like 1 or 2 showings a day, but it's not. It probably just has maybe.
I guess I missed that when I bought my Deadpool tickets. So
Yeah, which comes out Friday. Just
Thursday.
You can kiss my ass. All right. Anyway, so
Well, we can kick my husband and send out. And the 3 of us will go.
Well, you can exchange your husband's tickets. It's like, babe, oh my God, I am so sorry. I don't know what happened here, but I've got tickets for Friday. But sneak in, me, you, and Trish will go see it. So, A Wrinkle in Time. Now, according to Yahoo Finances, Disney's 2018 A Wrinkle in Time did not do as well as forecasted. This movie was forecasted, according to analysts, to be in the $350 to $400 million range. It, according to investor reports through Disney, only made, looks like $126 million. And that's worldwide. Now, the budget, just the movie itself, is $250 million to make. So right off the bat, we're looking at about 124 something. If my math still good,
Don't forget that you have to basically double their budget on what it costs to make the movie
in order for it to be profitable.
And for advertising.
Yep, advertising, marketing,
whatever they spent.
Yep.
On the movie, they spent on advertising as well.
And that's kind of what they're saying, because they're saying that just the movie itself was $250 million just to make that. If you count advertising and everything else, you're looking about another $50 million, because you have to put things in print. You got to put things all over the country and everything. So by expert analysis, unfortunately, this is considered a flop, although I don't think this is necessarily the movie's fault. Everything I've been reading about this movie, everything I've been seeing as far as the acting goes, really, really well done. This is certainly something that I feel that Disney messed up on, because if you look at when this movie was released, it was the same time as Black Panther. So this was really not its fault.
It didn't even have a chance to kind of build up.
Exactly.
Can I propose something?
Yes, propose please.
Something. This is something that it's a little conspiracy theory that I have thought about for a long time.
Are we? Wait, hold on. Wait, stop for a second. You're talking about a conspiracy theory? Why are we talking about conspiracy theories here? Why are we doing that? There's no reason to be doing conspiracy theories. Anyway, what's your conspiracy theory?
Have you ever seen a Mel Brooks movie called The Producers?
Yes.
I often think that some of these studios will make their own Springtime for Hitlers.
Yep.
They make a flop on purpose to, get rid of money, hide money, whatever. So, especially when they happen to come out the same time as a surefire hit, like Black Panther, it's like, if they were so confident in in Wrinkle in Time, why would they bring it out the same time as Black Panther?
Yeah.
They wouldn't. I mean, as it is, they moved Avengers up so that May wouldn't be quite so packed. They're spreading it out. So it didn't make any sense to have that movie come out unless they were pretty certain it was going to flop.
Tonight on Fox, it's the X-Files starring Trish. When a man.
I mean, I am almost totally certain that the two Baby Geniuses movies are both Springtime for Hitlers.
Good Lord.
When Disney makes a flop and they don't even realize they're doing it, Agent Mulder and Scully will crack the case. Is Walt's head floating out there somewhere? We're going to find out. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another conspiracy story for another day. Yeah. I mean, we can talk about Walt's floating head all day you want. Anyway.
But you sometimes wonder, especially, no offense, these guys are making millions of dollars. They're making all these decisions, and although they have multiple arms that are making these movies, whether you're talking the Marvel or Star Wars or Disney or Pixar, someone somewhere has to go, should we really release a movie that close to something that's probably going to do really well?
Or even watch it and go, oh yeah, that's a really good movie.
Yeah.
No.
I know. You kind of really feel bad for studios because it's like, seriously, nobody was awake at the wheel here.
Not at all. I don't. In fact, I'm looking right now to see, because I'm thinking, January looked kind of open. I'm not a movie. Yeah. I'm not a movie guy. I'm looking at, all these. You had Insidious. Okay, no one. I think maybe 8 people saw that.
Yeah.
Also, something that happens is when a movie comes out, like say Deadpool's coming out this Friday. Is there something kid friendly that's coming out as well? Because sometimes studios will see that a massively popular rated R movie is going to come out. They'll release it the same day because kids will go and buy a ticket to that and then go sneak into Deadpool.
It could have been
that's true.
And so then they know that their movie's going to actually make some money.
I never did that as a child. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, not at all.
I'm going through the list of movies that was released in 2018 in January. The only one that actually was, quote, successful was what was that one? It was, I just had, Maze Runner: The Death Cure. Everything else was just kind of crap. It wasn't like anything. So this could have been something released, the first Friday of January, or maybe the second Friday of Friday of January. This was just a very poor time for this movie to come out. And it's not its fault. By the way, to answer your question, Deadpool's coming out this Friday. It's going up against the thriller, the psychological thriller Show Dogs, which if you've seen that. So It's from the creators of Beverly Hills Chihuahua. So you do
no,
that's exactly what I'm saying. That movie's only coming out with Deadpool, so it can actually make some money.
Absolutely. Well, it's gonna make something because it's projected to get $20 million this weekend. So that's not too bad. The question is Deadpool 2 going to surpass Avengers? Probably not, but it's probably going to definitely surpass its record for a rated R opening ever. So, and of course, a week later has Solo Star Wars story. So, I mean, we're really starting to get into the summer movies here.
I know I'm back to having to watch a movie every week, and I just don't have the money for it. Darn it.
Well,
I already have my tickets.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. I robbed the bank.
Okay. Nothing like Top Ramen for a week.
Oh, yeah. What are we doing? We're eating Top Ramen. Shut up. Eat your Deadpool. Yeah, you got your Solo to come out the 25th, and then the 15th you've got The Incredibles 2. Then a week later you got Jurassic World, and a week or two later you got Ant-Man. So I mean, we're really getting into every week or every 2 weeks. We're really getting into the movies here. So, all right. So I think we've covered enough Disney news. Of course, if there's anything that you missed, or if you have a conspiracy theory yourself, definitely hit us up. Again, email disneyversepodcast@gmail.com. Now, this is the part of the show where I do need to let people know that this is spoilers. So if you do not want to know what happens, then you might want to turn it off. So we do know that Avengers was a very intense movie. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was
fun.
I mean, clearly they have a major dust issue in the Marvel universe. I mean, for God's sakes.
Bad allergy day.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Avengers Infinity War presented by Hoover Dustbusters, the official vacuum of Avengers. I mean, okay, so I guess we need to start kind of with, your initial reaction. Trish, I'm going to start with you on this one. What was your initial reaction?
I was bawling my eyes out.
Wuss.
Yeah, no. I cry at everything anyway. But
are you gonna cry over Show Dogs?
I think we can skip that one.
Okay,
I think I'm gonna totally skip that one. I might. Oh,
come on.
Who knows about crying Deadpool? You never know.
That's true.
But I just thought it was really well done. It was a really good movie. I was entertained through the entire thing, and I didn't think any part was slow. And I just thought I really liked the way everything came together. And, I mean, we knew there were going to be casualties. We knew. But I didn't think there was going to be that many.
Yeah. Well, and this was, oh, man. I mean, right off the bat, when you talk about the action, this movie goes right into it. There's no, there's no real lull into it. And you kind of go nice and easy. This literally, boom, we go right into it with Loki biting the dust.
Well, I went with some friends, and we actually had a Deadpool going on for this movie.
Nice!
Seriously, we did. We all
God, I
voted
didn't think about doing that. That'd have been great.
on who we thought was going to die. And I won because I said that Loki was going to die. He was going to be the first one to die.
I had Loki and Gamora. I think I got like 3 out of. I picked 3. I picked 4 people total. I was way off. Like I think maybe a half hour into the movie. I think that was already surpassed. A half hour into the movie. Yeah. Wow. I mean,
that was the only one I got right was Loki, and that because I was so certain that Cap and Iron Man were going to die. I was so certain both of them were going to die. But...
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's a lot of. Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. They're contractually obligated to up to the 4th Avengers movie. They've already said that after the 4th one we're done. But I mean we'll get into that more later because there is some news on that. Vic, what about you? I mean, what do you think about what happened with the Avengers?
I loved it, and I cried like a baby, even though. I knew the comics from 91, 92, 93 that they actually took bits and pieces from all 3 of the series, the Infinity series from the early 90s.
Right.
But I expected a lot. But I'm going to be honest, the one that upset me the most was Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Oh my God, you're watching this kid, and first his Spidey sense goes off, and he's all like, I don't feel good, I don't feel right. And then you watch him, and you're like, no, you can't kill him, I like him.
And for those Doctor Who fans out there, when he said, I don't want to go, oh my God, that just like ripped my heart out. Because I'm just like, no, it's the 10th Doctor all over again. No!
Yeah.
So, yeah,
but of course, anyone who's ever read a comic book or seen a comic book TV show or movie knows that death is not permanent. Thank God.
Yeah. I mean, you think about everything, and, for a while you're watching the movie and you're thinking, oh, my God, they're all gone. I mean, you don't necessarily think about, okay, well, maybe they're not going to be all gone. You're just thinking, okay, Tom Holland is just, oops.
There was an idea.
Wow, that's crazy. Hold on. that was not intentional there. I'm sorry about that. I was actually looking
on purpose.
No. I was actually just looking up Avengers upcoming movies because there actually is some news about that. Yeah, I mean, you look at. I mean, you just look at it, you're just like, oh my God, everyone just, like, Tom Holland fades away. And I mean, he didn't even lose his virginity. That really sucks, His spider senses didn't look into that.
Do you really know that he didn't? Well, yeah, I guess he wasn't.
Well, I mean, he wasn't, Black Widow's still around.
Oh!
Hey, he's over 18, who cares? Anyway, so,
That's true.
Yeah.
But another one that really got me, especially when I found out something later, was Groot.
Oh dear God. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the directors came out and they said someone asked what his last words were as he was looking at Rocket and as he was fading.
Dad.
And it was Dad. I'm like,
I know, it just gets you.
And then Rabbit, and then Rocket, which I was thinking about that. And Rocket said, I ain't your baby dad. And then Maury showed up. That was crazy. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, yeah, you watch that and you just get you in your heartstrings. You just get emotional about it. It was legitimately one of those scenes where you just absolutely just get choked up because you see this, I mean, he saved the Guardians a couple of times. He's playing that stupid ass game, which by the way I love. But anyway, you play that stupid ass game.
My brother and I had that when we were kids.
I think. Well, I played in the arcade. I mean, that's what I did. But it's one of those movies. It just gets you in the heartstrings. It absolutely does. But I mean. But we also look at some of the stuff that kind of gets lighthearted. There's a lot of lighthearted moments in this movie because I think the directors and the writers knew that this was going to be a tough movie to kind of get into. Not really get into, but just with everything that happens, they had to do things. And I think one of the bigger comedic parts was with Drax. I mean, just with his,
Oh yes.
Who's Gamora? Where's Gamora? Why Gamora? He makes all these comments about all these different little things.
How long have you been standing there? An hour. I am invisible.
It's like, no, you're not.
Dave Bautista, former WWE wrestler, by the way. Dave Bautista.
I know. I don't normally like that because I'm not a big fan of wrestling. I know. Don't shoot me.
No, it's okay. You just are not going to be on the show anymore. No, I mean,
come on.
Kidding.
But I actually really liked him in this, and then after the first Guardians movie, seeing him in James Bond, I kept telling him, my husband is the same guy, and he's like, no, it's not. Like, yes, it is.
It's the same guy.
Wait until we get in the car, and I'll show
Absolutely.
you. It's the same actor.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and...
he can actually act.
He actually... Well, it's funny. It's because Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, has been in all these different movies. Dave Bautista can say that he has been in the one of the four biggest grossing movies of all time. So, by the way, did you notice we had a Sherlock reunion? I don't know if you guys caught this or not.
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr. and Cumberbatch. I like all his names.
Hey,
I was really hoping one of them was going to say, "No shit, Sherlock."
I know. I
was
was waiting for that.
Yes.
Yes.
Would have been amazing.
No, it'd be funny if one of the characters said, "Hey, Sherlock," and they both turn around, huh? Something like that.
What would have been funny is if Martin Freeman's character had showed up, and
yes,
he would have been the one Watson between the two of them.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I know. By the way, if you guys noticed, there was an Easter egg in the scene with the collector. Anyone catch Silas from Arrested Development in there?
No.
Okay, so the it's hard to point it out, and I noticed this when I was watching the end credits, waiting in misery before we saw the very, very variant. But during the scene with the collector where Thanos is about ready to kill the collector, the collector has actually collected Silas from Arrested Development. I believe his name is Silas. He's the one that's dressed up as the Blue Man Group. He tries out for the Blue Man Group.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So if you're watching the end credits, there is a part in there where it says Arrested Development. I'm like, wait, what about Arrested Development? It's about a character from Arrested Development. They had to use as a credit in the movie. So I'm like, what is this all about? So I'm like looking through like stuff about that when I got home, and sure enough, he is in Avengers. He is painted blue, and he was collected by the collector. So little Easter egg as well. So I mean, obviously we talked about the ones that were kind of heart-wrenching. Was it something that was this a movie that you envisioned everything that it would be, but more, or was it something you guys all thought it would be, or did it lessen your expectations going forward with the new additional Marvel movies?
Well, actually, I think it kind of made me more excited for the next one. You know, you're never quite sure it's okay, are they going to lose steam, but they're getting better and better.
There's more depth in the development of the characters. There's more of a story.
And it's hard when you got that many characters.
Right. And we didn't get all of them. We didn't get Ant-Man. We didn't get Hawkeye. We didn't get, there's still, there's speculation that Quicksilver is going to come back. There's some really bizarre rumors, which we'll talk about in just a second. And it could relate to what could be happening in the real world. But yeah, it's really interesting to see the development of characters coming, because you just think action heroes, you just think, well, they're just going to blow crap up. I mean, okay, well, you can do that with any movie, but you have to do more than just, okay, blow crap up. You have to get emotionally attached to it, and really, especially with how Guardians are with Rocket and Groot and Drax and all those characters, you really got an attachment, even with Star-Lord when he totally fucked up and decided to just go ahead and get all pissed off about Gamora.
Yeah, that did. I understood his emotion, but I was kind of like, what the hell, dude? You just screwed it all up.
He done goofed.
Yes. But at the same time, it just, you understood from an emotional point of view, well, of course he was going to do that. You still want to smack him.
Right.
But I can't blame him.
I know people are saying that Star-Lord's the worst.
Really?
Was the worst character in the movie. And it's just like, oh, come on, people. You would probably react the same way.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going to fault him for being half human? Yeah.
Exactly. Because, come on, most of us, when we're faced with the loss of a loved one, especially that way, you're kind of want to, hurt the person who's responsible. And that's why we're irrational, and it's one of the things that's cool about us humans.
But I will admit, though, when I watched it, though, I knew it was going to happen, and I was actually kind of ticked off about it because it's such a typical trope,
Yeah, that's true.
It happens a lot. They're like, oh, crap, here we go. This person, if they had just, held off for 5 seconds, it would have all worked out.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I can understand why some people would be.
Well, it's like, and it's again, it's all part of the character development. I mean, he's, you know, he had issues.
He is stunted.
Well, he is stunted. He has more of a deeper voice than Thor, although he may not want to admit that, but we all know Thor has a deeper voice.
Pirate Angel.
That was good. That was good.
Come on, Rabbit, let's go. So, I mean, so let's see. So let's go back and let's kind of review. Now, obviously, we're going based off what was in the movie, so clearly there's going to be some characters coming back. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion that's going to happen, but let's assume, in quotes here, these characters died. So obviously Loki, you guys think he's pretty much gone?
God, I hope not. I love Tom Hiddleston.
I love Tom Hiddleston, but his is the one death that I think is pretty much, how's he supposed to come back from that?
Right.
You know, I mean, he wasn't killed in the snap of the fingers. He was killed way before that.
Right.
So
now, obviously, that could be something where if they go back in time with a certain captain, which we'll talk about that here in just a couple of moments, but it depends on how far back they go. Because one thing I'm going to bring up right now is I know everyone loves the connection between Gamora and Star-Lord. Honestly, I don't think Gamora's coming back.
Well, except that Gunn, the director of Guardians, including 3, has already said that she'll be in that movie. But they're not saying where in the timeline that movie will be.
Exactly.
And they say that she's trapped in the Soul Stone, so that she's still in there.
Right.
So she could be brought back.
Now,
yes.
and that's a theory too that I have, and I'll go ahead and give you guys my theory right now. She's not the only one that's in the Soul Stone that passed away. I think all those Avengers and everyone else that got killed when he snapped his fingers, which is we say Thanos.
Yes.
I think all of them are in that Soul Stone.
And I do recall that the gauntlet does hold people. The very stones do hold people. At least in some of the iterations. But, I mean, it's been...
There's a theory going around, too, that certain characters will be given the choice of whether to come back or not, but a certain amount have to stay dead in order to create the balance.
Right.
And so they're saying that, like, Iron Man, Captain America, the ones that their contracts are up, that they might be the ones to sacrifice themselves, for the others.
Absolutely. So, all right. So, my guess is that Gamora will pass away and she will remain dead. Now, obviously, the characters that have been dust, I think they are going to make cameos, but not necessarily all of them are going to maintain being dead. I think Gamora would be the only one from the Guardians that's going to pass away. I think Drax is going to stay alive. Groot's going to be alive. Star-Lord's going to be alive. They're all going to stick around. But
I think Star-Lord will fall for Captain Marvel because she's kind of retro like him.
I mean, hello, Brie Larson. I think anyone would. Just saying. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. It absolutely is possible. I mean, you have, especially the fact, I mean, if she brings him a new CD list, I mean, hello. I mean, he plays the same songs over and over. You cannot play Come and Get Your Love 300,000 times and get sick of it after a while. Come and get your love. Now, from what you guys have seen and read and speculated, who do you think is going to remain dead?
Well, it's
Loki.
Because we do know some people come back because they're already listed in other movies.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't imagine, Black Panther can't remain dead simply because of the fact that the movie was way too popular and he has to do 5 more.
Well,
yeah. Well,
I know. I've been told by my husband, who's a massive comic book fan, that Shuri, his sister, becomes Black Panther. So,
well, yeah, because in the comic book, and there's a few of them that we have that, where Steve Rogers retires and Bucky Barnes takes over, so in theory Bucky would have to come back. But we have a lot of that where the characters come back and take up the mantle of somebody else. But then again, with the 50 years of some of these comics, it's hard to figure out which one they're going to go with.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, too, because you generally have to, because we're getting to the point now, and we love Robert Downey Jr., we love these characters, but, you know, Robert Downey Jr. is looking a little bit more and more like his age, so it's going to get to the point where you have to make a decision on him pretty soon. I definitely see Doctor Strange coming back. I definitely see.
Yes.
I love Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Oh yes, I also loved it as a comic book, but I also have a thing for Benedict. So.
Okay. Do you guys?
Absolutely.
You know, I can carry the show for like 5 or 10 minutes if you guys need to take a step away.
Oh, shush!
I'm just saying.
You have your favorites too, so please.
Yeah, Brie Larson. Okay, I'll be right back. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. So Ant-Man doesn't show up, but we know he's in the movie. We know that, not in the movie, but we know he's going to have his movie coming out later this summer.
Yes.
Captain Marvel has her movie coming out, which I want to say it's in February. We're going to be looking kind of the same thing with Black Panther here with Captain Marvel. It's going to come out middle of February, and then the Avengers, Untitled Avengers, hey, we are not dusty anymore or something. I don't know what their name's going to be, but we
reassembled.
The
Avengers
Dustbuster Strikes Back.
Yeah, that's right. Revenge of the Dustbusters. Yeah, so they're going to come back. We all know Guardians of the Galaxy is going to come back. We all know Spider-Man's going to come back as well.
Yeah.
Black Panther. You're not. Don't go anywhere, Black Panther fans. Your guy's going to come back. But I mean, you look at who passed away.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Do you think in Ant-Man, do you think that we're going to see some of the effects of what Thanos did?
Yes.
I think so, because I believe it's supposed to be the same timeline.
See, I kind of thought, wouldn't it be a way to get Wasp really pissed off if her dad went to dust in front of her? And also, and also her mother, which, Michelle Pfeiffer's been cast as her mother.
Yeah.
And it has to be a modern mother, because not like a flashback one, because no offense to Michelle Pfeiffer, but she's not young, so I mean.
Right.
Actually,
I kind of get the feeling that when Ant-Man went into the tiny universe and he was able to come back, there's the comment made of maybe there was hope to get her.
Yes. And that's what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking that they bring her back, and wouldn't it just suck so much and just also be so perfect if her mom comes back and reunited with daughter and her husband, and then all of a sudden they both go to dust.
So I'm actually looking at some of the preliminary plot story lines here, and there actually is a discussion about Ant-Man and Wasp. According to USA Today, the storyline is supposed to take place between Civil War and before Infinity War. Ant-Man and Wasp are confirmed to be in the next Avengers movie. So
post-credit scene.
Yeah, well, that's where it's going to be in that. I guess my question is, how can I get Chris Evans' beard? I mean, for God's sakes, that guy's got a sexy beard, if I might want to say so myself.
Well, yeah, if you want to bring it up, sure.
I mean, well, I'm giving you guys more ammunition, hell.
Oh, so, I think you're right. I think we're going to probably see some of the ones who have already had their trilogies. They're probably going to go away at some point in the very near future, because, I mean, how much longer can Chris Evans really want to do this? And Robert Downey Jr., he's actually older than me. So I could see him kind of wanting to go, okay, you know what? No more jumping off buildings.
Yeah,
I'm kind of done.
I think this Avengers 4 is going to be Robert Downey's last as Iron Man.
I think so.
They're even speculating that Bucky could be Iron Man himself if Chris Evans decides to go ahead and continue playing Captain America. So, I mean, that's another thing, too, as well. There's a lot of discussion even about Mark Ruffalo. His contract is up, so we probably will see the last of Hulk, especially with him having his issues where he couldn't Hulk himself up, which, a little blue pill might help him with that.
That felt like a little bit of a...
You might need a blue pill for that. I'm not a doctor. But, no, it wouldn't be a blue, it'd be a green pill. It'd be a little green pill. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. I mean, there really, really is a lot of possibilities that's going to go forward with all this.
Well, and I'd like to see if maybe they can bring in some of the other characters, either some of the characters that we haven't seen for many years in the comic books, or even some of the ones that belong to other properties that are slowly coming back to Marvel control and Disney control, that we can start adding some of these back. Because one of the weird things is missing the Fantastic Four. Not that there's ever been a Fantastic Four movie that was fantastic, but, so many of those characters are involved with this whole Infinity story in the comic lines.
I mean, it's called the Four.
Yeah,
Four. Do you guys think that there could be some characters outside of the Avengers that might show up?
Oh, I think so.
Well, like Fantastic Four?
Not just Fantastic.
No,
not just
that's not going to happen anytime soon. Well, I know who I want to show up.
X-Men?
Bingo. There are reports. You guys ready? During the filming of Avengers 4, or the new one's coming out next year, which I believe it's May 18th. I'll confirm the release date on that. There were characters from X-Men movies previously that were on set in costume. They will not report on who they were, but one of them has a movie coming out this Friday.
God, I would so love to see that.
Oh man,
wouldn't that be fun?
They had those crossovers in the comics all the time.
And it would be so funny because Deadpool would be like, "Oh man, this is a PG-13 movie." Okay, well, I'll do my best.
Absolutely. Now, have you guys seen the new Deadpool TV spot, by the way, with him and David Beckham?
Yes.
No, I have not seen it yet, but I heard about it.
Okay, after the show, I'll play it for you guys on there. But it's just total Deadpool. Yeah, there's been some discussion about possible X-Men characters. I mean, if they really want to go full-out comic book here, let's just go ahead and bring Superman and Batman and all those. I mean, that obviously will not happen, but I mean,
hey, Marvel and DC did have occasional crossovers.
That's what I'm saying, is that they could, if they want to legitimately do it all, just here, let's have Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. He meet up with Tony Stark. What do you think you're doing? Where is she?
I really hope, and I realize that they have not said anything about this, but the original Infinity series of comics, it all was to please Mistress Death. I would love to see Mistress Death come to life in these movies. That was an oxymoron. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
No, that's okay. Wasn't there, and I'm looking this right there, wasn't there like a character in the Marvel Universe that was like this supreme, super, mega, I mean, more powerful than any Avenger combined? Was there anybody like that?
I'd have to ask my husband. I don't know.
I'm Googling it right now, actually.
Well, like, Marvel she was kind of like the be-all, end-all. She was almost at the realm of goddess level. She was kind of like Marvel's answer to Wonder Woman in their mythology, and she had a lot of amazing powers that kind of put everyone else to shame.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here because I was looking at it when I was doing some research, and there was an Avenger that rarely shows up, but when they do, they're like invincible. They can't be beaten. Now, obviously, in the comic books, Thanos is defeated. And I want to say it was either by Quicksilver or someone else, but I want to say in the movie it's going to be Brie Larson that brings Thanos down.
Well, yeah, and I think she actually does in one of the comic series.
Right.
And then also the Silver Surfer was a major part of that, but they can't use him.
Right. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, Silver Surfer and Thanos were really deeply connected.
Right, which would be kind of nice to see that happen. Although I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So we talk about the Avengers. Obviously, half the world's coming to an end by the snap of their fingers. I, let alone, cannot get a drink with just a snap of my finger. So Thanos clearly is more powerful than me. We talk about that, but we also look ahead. Now, obviously, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out middle of summer, according to the article in USA Today. This is going to be between Civil War, and it's going to be between that and the Infinity War. But you also have Captain Marvel, which is coming out. That's in February. That's the Brie Larson flick, which looks like it's going to be set in the 90s. Which, by the way, I love the very, very ending of Infinity War, where as Samuel Jackson is about ready to say "mother effer."
I know, that was so good.
But then
it was just sad and happy and funny and. Oh.
Right, but I love the Motorola pager that he whips out there, because that's totally 1995.
That was great.
But at the very, very end, you see him pulling it out, and you see it loading. Next thing you know, you see Captain Marvel symbol pops out. When I saw that, I literally popped out of my seat, which was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was like half the movie theater. I was like, oh my God! And everyone else is going, what are you people saying?
Which, by the way, if you're in the theater, okay, for the people who were at the theater, for you going to the theater and you're watching Avengers, why is it that 80% of you leave? You guys are effing morons. You know for a fact that something is going to happen. Well, let's go ahead and leave. The lights are coming on. It's a Marvel effing movie. You know something's going to happen at the very, very end.
It will always have a tag.
I will make
maybe 2, maybe 3.
Even if nothing happens, I will make something happen. Oh my God, it's the black black screen guy. He's coming out here. He's coming to save the day.
He did it again.
I know. That's a lip. Sorry. So, So Captain Marvel comes out in February. Avengers comes out in May of next year. So it's going to follow this year's pattern. And then after that will be the Spider-Man Homecoming sequel, which is also going to be in 2019. And then early in 2020 might be a summer flick, but right now it is saying spring, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So the Avengers are going to come back. We don't know how it's going to happen. I'm guessing time machine. I'm thinking Doc Brown gets the time machine back. Marty, we're gonna take the time machine. We're gonna back to 1955 and rescue you and your parents. So they're gonna do some time machine thing. I think that's what Captain Marvel's gonna do. She's gonna be part of that. Because remember, Doctor Strange said, "Hey, there's like 750 million scenarios, but there's only one that actually beats Thanos." So.
And he did set the one off. You just know, he had to give up the stone because that would set off the scenario where they win.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to happen. So keep in mind, again, this is a lot of it's speculation, but we were freely to talk about that. But of course, one of the great things about the franchise is that it's going to continue. This is clearly going to be something that's going to last for many of years to come. There's going to be different variations of it. There's going to be different scenarios for it. It's just sit back, enjoy it. Don't look too much into it. Just enjoy the flick. Yeah, it sucked when you saw what happened. But if you follow the comics and you follow how it all happens, this is how the progress happens, pretty much.
Yes.
So, Trish, what would you say your full rating of this movie? Do you give it instead of stars? We're going to do dust particles. So we're going to do a series of 1 to 10 in dust particles.
Oh God, I give it 9.5.
9.5 dust particles. Okay. And then, Vicky, what about you?
I think I'm going to go 9 3/4.
I'm going to take $1. I mean, that's my thought. By the way, we do have something. I believe this is what's going on right now inside it. Yep, there it is. They're cleaning up after themselves.
Oh!
Yep, they're cleaning up after the Avengers. I mean, that's too bad. That's a shame. Anyway, just kidding.
What are we going to do with you?
Hey, I have a soundboard. I like having fun with it. By the way, before we go, do you guys have a theory on how Thanos is going to get his? Vicky, I'll start with you.
Oh. Okay, hang on. I got to PG it down.
It could be PG-13, so F this. Let's go.
Oh, gosh. He never really dies. Mistress Death comes and says she's going to break up with him unless he brings them all back. I know, that was totally lame. They're awful.
That
awful.
was...
I don't know.
Yeah.
That stunk.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so your theory is not plausible.
My theory stinks.
No, your theory does not stink. Trish, what about you?
Gosh, I haven't really thought about it. Oh. I think he's going to get trapped in the Soul Stone.
Ooh, I like that.
I think a lot of the lives are going to be traded for his.
Do you think he'll turn good, or do you think he's just going to...
No, he never turns good.
I know. I'm just, you know.
He's just like...
Remember, this is a Disney movie, so people are like, oh, I didn't realize it.
He is like one of those Bible-thumping, preachers that thinks he's doing everything for the greater good. And
yes.
And, he can't even see the error of his ways because he's so into it.
So you're saying Thanos is Jimmy Swaggart. Okay, that's fair enough there. So, other than all, wonderful movie. I think this was very, very well done. There was a lot of character development. A lot of cinematography was just tremendous. It definitely will, for special effects, will garner some sort of consideration from the Academy at some point. I definitely think this is a 9 out of 10 dust particles. As far as how Thanos is going to get his, I mean, I can envision a scenario where Ant-Man goes into his head and just expands at the same time. That would be kind of fun. It might be kind of messy, but that would be pretty badass. Yes. I can see a scenario where Brie Larson goes out and takes him out. I can see a scenario where before they're making the glove, the iron glove there, that they do something with that as well. But hey, who knows what's going to be? By the way, that glove is a big seller right now. If you see a lot of the different stores, they have a lot of those gloves currently sold out. So if you're interested in getting...
I am so not surprised.
Well, did you see the sipper cup at Disneyland?
Yeah.
I know. Doesn't that look cool?
You know what? I saw that on the page, and I loved it. I think it's better than any popcorn alien bucket, which I think is,
Yes.
But for $20, you can get your favorite beverage and snap your fingers in half your amusement park.
Sweet.
Wouldn't that be interesting? You like snap your finger, and all of a sudden, like half the park gets
This is what you get for pissing me off.
Yeah. Wait.
That would be awesome, actually, if you could snap your fingers and make half the people in Disneyland disappear.
That would be a lot.
That would be awesome. Sorry.
And if you do it one more time, then everyone's gone. Just kidding. It's working. So
it's just me.
I know, it's all me. Wait, no one's there to ride the rides. Anyway, so well, that's gonna do it. This has definitely been a very sad episode of DisneyVerse Podcast. One of which that I think we'll never forget. But hey. As Celine Dion would say, our heart...
Please don't. No.
Our heart will go on. So for Hoover Dustbusters everywhere, and that old lady that drops the blue emerald down into the Titanic, this is Michael from the DisneyVerse Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, this is just... It's just...
Why do we put up with him?
Oh, I got...
we're going to have to hurt you later.
Hold on. I actually have something better. We're going to finish off with Celine Dion, but a different one. This is actually from the upcoming Deadpool 2 motion picture soundtrack. This is Celine Dion with Ashes herself.
So that's where all the dust particles went, to Ashes.
Oh,
that's right.
Ah.
Theory.
What's left to say? These prayers aren't working.
See, that's how it is. So, it's Michael. Thank you very much for joining us here on the DisneyVerse Podcast. Make sure you clean up your house because the next time you pick up dust, just think: was that Spider-Man or was that Groot? Thanks for joining us here on the DisneyVerse Podcast. This is Michael for Patricia and Vicky. We'll see you guys later.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
I don't feel good. I don't feel good at all. I haven't gone through puberty.
No, I stayed. Never mind. Bye, guys.
I'm still a virgin.
Oh.
I'm still a virgin.